Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by lush green forests and rolling hills, there lived a curious boy named Arda. Arda had bright eyes that sparkled with wonder and a mind that was always buzzing with questions. He loved exploring the woods near his village, climbing over rocks, wading through streams, and discovering hidden corners of the forest that no one else seemed to notice. Every leaf, every stone, every rustling sound in the trees held a secret waiting for him to uncover. One sunny afternoon, as Arda wandered deeper into the forest than he had ever gone before, he stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden behind a curtain of ivy and moss, there was an entrance to a cave. The mouth of the cave shimmered with faintly glowing crystals embedded in the stone, and ancient symbols were carved into the wall surrounding it. Arda's heart raced. He could feel deep down that this was no ordinary cave. With a mixture of excitement and caution, Arda took out his small lantern, which flickered gently in the dim light. The moment he stepped inside, the cave seemed alive. Every step he took made the glowing crystals hum softly, and a faint whispering seemed to echo from deep within. At first, the whispers were almost inaudible, like a soft breeze carrying secrets from ages long past. Then slowly, Arda began to feel that the cave was trying to tell him something, an ancient story hidden from the eyes of ordinary villagers. This cave, it must hold a secret, he whispered to himself. And with that, he stepped further into the darkness, following the soft glow of the crystals. The walls around him began to pulse gently, illuminating new passages with every careful step he took. The air smelled earthy and mysterious, carrying hints of moss, wet stone, and something else. Something magical that Arda could not yet name. As he walked deeper, he discovered strange patterns etched into the walls, symbols of the sun, moon, stars, and trees intertwined with mysterious runes that seemed almost alive. He paused to trace one with his finger, and it shimmered beneath his touch. Arda realized that the cave was not merely a natural formation. It had been created with purpose, by someone who had hidden extraordinary knowledge within its walls. After what felt like hours of careful exploration, he finally reached a large chamber. In the center of this cavernous space was an old stone table, covered in dust and age. On the table lay a book bound in leather, its cover engraved with golden symbols, and next to it, a crystal that glowed with a soft inner light. Arda's heart leapt. He picked up the book cautiously, feeling a strange warmth radiate from it. The pages of the book seemed to turn themselves as he touched them, revealing stories of a great sage who had once inhabited the cave. This sage had hidden the secrets of nature, the universe, and the balance of life itself within the cavern. The book spoke of elemental powers, ancient creatures, and the hidden connections between all living things. Arda realized that if he wanted to understand these secrets, he would need more than just courage. He would need wisdom, patience, and a strong heart. Determined, Arda decided to delve deeper into the cave, knowing that every new passage held lessons and challenges. With each step, the glowing crystals illuminated his path, revealing hidden chambers filled with wondrous sights. Walls covered in living vines that seemed to move on their own, streams of water that sparkled with rainbow hues, and small magical creatures that peeked from behind rocks and stones. The cave was alive, teaching him in ways words never could. Eventually, Arda reached the deepest chamber, where a massive crystal towered above him. Its glow filled the entire room, reflecting colors that danced across the walls and ceiling. He approached it slowly, feeling a sense of awe and reverence. As he placed his hands near the crystal, he sensed its energy flowing into him, a power that had chosen him for his courage and curiosity. The crystal seemed to acknowledge his heart, and Arda knew he had uncovered something incredible. The heart of the cave itself, a source of wisdom and magic that could only be accessed by those pure of spirit. Arda spent what felt like hours learning from the crystal, absorbing knowledge about the forces of nature, the cycles of life, and the mysteries of the universe. He realized that his adventure was not just about exploring a cave. It was a journey into his own courage, intelligence, and understanding of the world around him. When he finally returned to the surface, the sun was beginning to set, casting long, golden rays across the forest. Arda emerged from the cave not just as a curious boy, but after leaving the hidden cave, Arda's mind buzzed with excitement. The secrets he had uncovered were only the beginning. As he walked back toward his village, the forest seemed different. The trees whispered to him, the streams sparkled more brightly, and the wind carried messages he had never noticed before. He realized that the cave had awakened something inside him, a connection with the natural world that he had never felt before. Arda decided that he needed to understand this newfound connection. The book and the crystal had taught him about the energies of nature, but he knew that knowledge alone was not enough. He had to experience these powers firsthand. As he ventured further into the forest, he noticed subtle changes in the landscape. The paths twisted unnaturally, leading him deeper into areas of the forest he had never explored. Strange flowers glowed faintly in the twilight, and small creatures with shimmering fur and glowing eyes watched him from the shadows. Soon Arda reached a clearing where the sunlight filtered down in golden beams. In the center of the clearing was a circle of ancient stones, carved with runes similar to those he had seen in the cave. As he stepped closer, a voice echoed in his mind. To wield the powers you seek, you must first face the trials of the forest. Only the brave and the wise will succeed. Arda took a deep breath and stepped into the circle. Immediately, the ground beneath him shifted. Vines sprang up from the earth, curling and twisting, forming intricate patterns that seemed alive. Each vine held a puzzle, a challenge he had to solve to continue. Some vines created moving pathways, while others formed barriers he had to climb or carefully navigate. The first trial tested his courage. A vine grew in the shape of a massive serpent, its eyes glowing like fiery embers. Arda's heart pounded, but he remembered the lessons from the cave. The crystal had chosen him because of his bravery and curiosity. He carefully approached the vine, speaking softly to it, acknowledging its strength. To his surprise, the vine bowed slightly, allowing him to pass. The second trial was a test of wisdom. A series of glowing orbs floated before him, each containing a riddle about the balance of nature. Arda had to solve each riddle to move forward. The orbs asked him questions about the sun, the rain, and the cycles of the seasons. He thought deeply, recalling everything he had learned from the cave's book and his own observations in the forest. With patience and focus, he solved each riddle, and the path opened before him. The third trial tested his compassion. Arda came across a wounded fox with shimmering fur. Its paw was caught in a thorny bush, and it looked at him with pleading eyes. Arda knew that to continue his journey, he could not ignore the suffering of others. Carefully, he freed the fox, tending to its wound with water from a nearby stream. The fox leapt happily, and, as it disappeared into the forest, a path of glowing moss appeared, guiding Arda further into the woods. The forest trials continued, each one teaching him more about himself and the natural world. He climbed cliffs where the winds howled like spirits, crossed rivers that sparkled with colors of the rainbow, and solved puzzles left by creatures that had once guarded the forest. Each challenge strengthened his mind, body, and heart, preparing him for the greater trials that lay ahead. By nightfall, Arda reached the edge of a hidden grove, where a circle of ancient trees formed a natural cathedral. In the center stood a pedestal, holding a small, glowing crystal, similar to the one in the cave. As Arda approached, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The crystal pulsed gently, responding to his presence. A voice, soft but powerful, spoke to him again. You have proven your courage, wisdom, and compassion, but the greatest trials are yet to come. The heart of the forest awaits, and only those who are truly ready can face it. Arda's eyes widened. He knew that the journey ahead would be more difficult, more mysterious, and more dangerous than anything he had faced before. Yet he felt a deep sense of determination. The forest had chosen him as its guardian, and he would not fail. As the moon rose, casting silvery light through the branches, Arda settled for the night in the grove, the glowing crystal by his side. He drifted into a deep sleep, dreaming of creatures, lights, and whispers, preparing himself for the next chapter of his adventure. A journey that would take him to the very heart of the magical forest and reveal the full extent of the powers he was destined to wield. When Arda woke up, the first rays of sunlight were filtering through the thick forest canopy. The dreams he had during the night whispered secrets of the forest, lost powers, hidden creatures, and ancient mysteries waiting to be discovered. Rubbing his eyes, he picked up the small crystal that had guided him so far. The crystal didn't just provide light, it seemed to pulse with a quiet energy, warning him of dangers and guiding him toward answers. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller, their shadows darker, and the wind whispered through the branches like an old song. Despite the eerie atmosphere, Arda's courage burned brighter than fear. He was no longer just a boy, he was an explorer, a seeker of hidden truths. After walking for hours, he arrived at a winding river. The water shimmered in an unnatural way, reflecting the light of the crystal and guiding him forward. Each ripple seemed to point him toward a path only he could see. Carefully, he followed the riverbank, listening to the murmurs of the forest around him. Soon he discovered another cave entrance, far older and more mysterious than the first. Towering stone pillars surrounded the entrance, carved with ancient symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. Arda took a deep breath and stepped inside. Every footstep sent a shiver of energy from the crystal through his body, connecting him to the cave and its secrets. Deeper within the cave, a massive shadow appeared. Before him stood the guardian of the forest, a legendary creature whose eyes glowed and whose enormous wings brushed against the cavern walls. Arda felt fear, but he didn't retreat. Stepping forward, he spoke with courage from his heart. "I am Arda. I seek to understand the secrets of this forest and protect its power. I will not flee from danger. I will do what is right." The guardian paused, sensing Arda's bravery and sincerity. Slowly it stepped aside, allowing him to pass. Its glowing eyes seemed to imbue him with silent strength, reassuring him for the challenges ahead. As Arda proceeded, he came to a vast chamber filled with glowing stones and radiant crystals. In the center floated a magical orb, pulsing with immense energy far greater than the crystal he carried. Arda realized this orb was the heart of the forest, containing all its power. Reaching the orb was no simple task. Energy barriers and spiraling lights defended it, and only by mastering the crystal's energy could he hope to get closer. Focusing, Arda aligned his crystal with the orb, channeling its energy. Slowly, the barriers dissolved, granting him access. When Arda finally held the orb in his hands, a surge of energy coursed through him. Visions of the forest's secrets, the language of its creatures, and the deepest forces of nature filled his mind. He understood now. He was no longer just a boy. He was the guardian of the forest, chosen to maintain its balance. Opening his eyes, the cave was silent again, but the crystal still hummed with life. Arda knew his mission: to protect the forest, guide its secrets wisely, and safeguard his village. With renewed determination, he left the cave, carrying with him both the crystal and the responsibility of a true forest guardian. Arda stepped out of the cave into the forest, the morning mist curling around his feet like gentle spirits guiding him. The crystal in his hand shone brighter than ever, its soft hum echoing the power of the orb he had discovered. Yet he knew that holding the forest's secrets came with responsibilities, and trials awaited him before he could truly master this newfound power. As he walked along the forest path, strange occurrences began to unfold. Shadows moved unnaturally between the trees, and the wind carried whispers he could almost understand. "Only the worthy may protect the forest," they seemed to say. Arda's heart pounded, but his curiosity pushed him forward. He remembered the guardian's gaze and the sense of trust it had placed in him. Soon he arrived at a clearing where three paths diverged, each more mysterious than the last. The first path was shrouded in thick fog. The second was lined with twisted, blackened trees, and the third sparkled with strange, colorful lights. Consulting the magical crystal, he noticed faint lines of energy pointing toward the path of colorful lights. Hesitant but determined, he followed it. The path led him to a series of challenges, trials meant to test courage, wisdom, and compassion. The first trial was the trial of shadows. Arda faced dark creatures born from fear itself. They whispered doubts, taunted him, and tried to push him back. But Arda remembered the lessons from the cave and the energy of the orb within his heart. Standing tall, he focused, letting the crystal's light guide him. Shadows dissolved before him, unable to withstand the purity of his courage. Next came the trial of reflection. Arda approached a tranquil lake, its surface smoother than glass. As he gazed into it, he saw visions of himself failing, making wrong choices, and misusing the forest's power. Each reflection tried to shake his confidence, but Arda remembered the words from the magical book in the first cave. True strength lies not in force, but in wisdom and understanding. Breathing deeply, he accepted his fears and imperfections, learning from them instead of fleeing. The lake's surface shimmered, approving his wisdom, and a pathway emerged across the water. The final trial was the trial of compassion. A wounded creature appeared, a magnificent glowing stag trapped in thorny vines, injured and in pain. Arda's first instinct was to protect himself, to focus on his mission, but he remembered that true guardianship required empathy. Gently he untangled the vines, used the crystal's energy to heal its wounds, and whispered soothing words. The stag's eyes shone with gratitude, and it bowed before him, granting him a final blessing. Having completed the three trials, Arda felt a profound transformation within. He was no longer the same boy who had stumbled upon the mysterious cave. He had faced fear, learned from reflection, and shown compassion. The crystal glowed brighter than ever, attuning itself perfectly to his heartbeat. Arda realized he was ready for the final part of his journey, understanding the deepest mysteries of the forest and becoming its protector. As he prepared to continue, the guardian reappeared, emerging silently from the shadows. Its wings stretched wide, and it spoke in a voice that resonated like the wind through the trees. Arda, it said, you have proven yourself in courage, wisdom, and compassion. The forest's heart recognizes you. But remember, every choice you make affects not just these woods, but the balance of all life around it. Guard its secrets well, and your world will flourish. Fail, and chaos may rise. Arda bowed, understanding the weight of his responsibility. With a renewed sense of purpose, he set off deeper into the forest, ready to face the final mysteries that awaited him. His journey had transformed him into a true guardian, but the greatest lessons were still ahead. Arda moved silently through the thick trees, the crystal's glow lighting his path. Every step seemed heavier than the last, yet his determination never wavered. The forest around him pulsed with life, whispering secrets he was only beginning to understand. Birds sang melodies that felt like messages, leaves rustled like ancient voices, and even the soil beneath his feet hummed with energy. After hours of walking, Arda reached a hidden glade, unlike anything he had ever seen. At its center stood a colossal tree, older than any memory, its roots stretching deep into the earth and branches touching the clouds. The tree's bark glimmered with runes similar to those in the cave. The crystal in Arda's hand vibrated, and he understood instinctively. This was the heart tree, the source of all magic in the forest. A sudden wind swirled around him, and from the shadows emerged creatures of light and shadow. Guardians of the heart tree. They circled Arda, their voices forming a chorus that spoke directly to his mind. To awaken the forest's true power, they said, one must prove unity with all living things, not just mastery over magic. Are you ready, Arda? Arda nodded firmly. I am ready. I will protect and serve the forest, not for power, but for life itself. The guardians nodded, their forms blending into the radiant glow of the heart tree. Arda approached it, placing the crystal upon the largest root. Immediately, light burst forth, spreading through the forest like liquid gold. Trees shimmered, flowers bloomed in impossible colors, and rivers sparkled with crystal-clear water. Animals emerged from hiding, unafraid and harmonious, and the air was filled with the scent of renewal. Arda felt the forest's power flowing through him. He realized that this gift was not just for him, it was a responsibility to nurture, protect, and guide. He lifted his gaze, seeing the expanse of green, the mountains beyond, and the village in the distance. Everything was connected, and his heart swelled with love and duty. Suddenly, a dark mist appeared on the horizon, a remnant of imbalance and neglect that had once plagued the forest. Arda knew that awakening the forest was only the beginning. With courage, wisdom, and compassion, he channeled the crystal's energy, creating a protective shield around the heart tree and spreading its healing power throughout the forest. The darkness dissipated, retreating into nothingness, unable to withstand the harmony and light that Arda now embodied. Days turned into weeks, and Arda became the forest's official guardian. He learned to communicate with the creatures, understand the season's rhythm, and maintain the delicate balance of life. Children from his village, inspired by his adventures, came to learn from him. He taught them about courage, responsibility, respect for nature, and the importance of compassion. The forest flourished like never before, and the village prospered alongside it. Arda's adventures became legends told around fires, in classrooms and in whispered tales before bedtime. He never forgot the cave, the crystal, or the trials he had faced. Every challenge, every shadow overcome, and every act of kindness had shaped him into a hero who embodied the values of courage, wisdom, and empathy. As the years passed, Arda continued his guardianship, passing his knowledge and experiences to new generations. The forest thrived, magical and vibrant, a living testament to the bond between humans and nature. And though Arda eventually grew older, the lessons he learned and the power of the heart tree lived on, ensuring that the forest would always remain a place of wonder, mystery, and life. The story of Arda and the mystical forest became a timeless tale, a story of bravery, the pursuit of knowledge, and the importance of protecting the world around us. And in the hearts of every child who heard it, a spark of adventure was ignited, reminding them that courage, wisdom, and compassion could illuminate even the darkest paths.